First and foremost, I want to say thank you to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for him, this would not be possible. Lord knows boxing. You already know what to do. Hit the like button, share the video, leave a comment, subscribe. I want to talk about Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez has been the discussion of boxing. He fought this Thursday that just passed. He came out victorious over Jermaine Ortiz. Shout out to Teofimo Lopez, the top dog at 140 pounds, beyond a shadow of a doubt to me. I don't care what anybody says. He's the top dog up there. He beat the man. He's the champ. But what I want to talk about Teofimo Lopez right now is what's next. What's next for Teofimo Lopez, right? And this is not Fantasy Island. I'm talking about real, possible fights. I'm talking about realistic fights that can realistically happen based on his side of the street, based on their availability. And speaking of availability, right now we're going to talk about fighters that have been linked to Teofimo Lopez that are not available right now. We're going to start off with Devin Haney, right? Devin the Dream Haney is currently signed to fight Ryan Garcia, another potential Teofimo Lopez opponent. So we got to X those two out of it. Subriel Matias reportedly is going to be fighting against Liam Parrow either in June or July. Let's X that one out the equation. People want to mention Terrence Bud Crawford, right? Terrence Crawford right now is busy chasing immortality, boxing immortality. Based off Teofimo Lopez's performance, I think Terrence Crawford will probably get a lot of slack if he turned around and fought Teofimo Lopez when he got Jaron Ennis in his weight class. But Terrence Crawford is shooting for Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez stated that he's going to make a big announcement on Tuesday, so who knows, right? Okay, who else? Teofimo Lopez contemporary. Gervonta Tank Davis. We already know that's not going to happen. Gervonta Tank Davis is, I don't know what's going on with him, but I can bet you that him and Teofimo Lopez is not going to fight anytime soon, right? So these are all guys in or around his weight class. Now we're going to talk about fights that are more realistic. Starting with Top Rank, for instance, we got Shakur Stevenson. Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson, that's a very sellable fight. Very sellable fight. Both guys are coming off of performances that they're currently being criticized for. Both guys have a history together. Both guys are recently tweeting back and forth, or they just recently tweeted back and forth, right? Just the other day. And it's a built-in storyline, a fight that can sell. You know, Teofimo Lopez had said some controversial stuff about black fighters and Puerto Rican fighters. So Shakur Stevenson could use that as an opportunity and say, listen, I'm Puerto Rican and I'm black American. He can use that to get the fan base, both fan bases, to back his play, right? Because Teofimo Lopez at one point was being heavily backed by the Puerto Rican fan base in New York City. And I'm pretty sure he still does have Puerto Rican fans. I'm definitely one of them. Teofimo is definitely still my favorite fighter. But nevertheless, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, that's a possibility. But here's the problem. Shakur Stevenson is going to be a free agent after one more fight. So it wouldn't make sense for Top Rank to give Shakur Stevenson a Teofimo Lopez fight without re-upping his contract, right? Because if Shakur Stevenson were to win that fight, he takes the belt with him to wherever he decides to sign to. So we're going to have to X that one out respectfully. So now let's talk about realistically. On Top Rank, they just signed, what's his name? Sandor Martin. There's a Teofimo Lopez versus Sandor Martin rematch that they could also make. They fought before last year. It was a fight that I had Teofimo Lopez winning 7-3, but you have a lot of people that felt Sandor Martin won that fight. But we could all say that Teofimo Lopez did struggle in that fight with cutting the ring off. But that's not really a sellable fight. Even though the last time they fought, it was non-titled. So now it could be a 12-round fight for all the marbles. But realistically, I don't want to see that fight. And I'm pretty sure Teofimo Lopez doesn't care for that fight neither. Then we have a potential fight, a rematch with Jermaine Ortiz. Jermaine Ortiz, he may very well get the Guillermo Rigondeaux treatment from Bob Arum. I don't think Bob Arum is going to put him to headline anytime soon, right? So who else does Top Rank have? Who else does Top Rank have? They got Keyshawn Davis, 135 pounds, right? He just called out Teofimo Lopez. And I already know what a lot of haters are going to say. Oh, he's a prospect. He only has maybe 10 fights. He's 135 pounds. Well, I'm going to tell you what. If Keyshawn Davis was a prospect with 10 fights that was being moved like a prospect, then I would say, yeah, it's too early for him to fight Teofimo Lopez. But Keyshawn Davis, like Teofimo Lopez, is a fighter that's on a fast track. He's a fighter that, given the opportunity, he's going to have a championship fight soon. Sooner than the average fighter. He's coming off of a very, very good performance over Jose Pedraza. He's a slick talker. Once again, he's an African-American fighter. Teofimo Lopez is creating a controversial buzz for himself. Somewhat of a WWE heel. So the African-American fan base is definitely going to tune in to back Keyshawn Davis's play. If Keyshawn Davis is the promoter that I feel he can be, he's probably going to say, listen, man, I'm fighting this guy and I'm doing it for the culture. And as far as stylistically, it's definitely a fan-friendly fight. Keyshawn Davis can box. He does have a slick jab. He does got some pretty good power, but he's going to bang. And when you sit there and bang, or if you're an offensive fighter, you're also contributing to Teofimo Lopez's best attributes. He's a counterpuncher with reflexes and devastating punching power. Make no mistake about it. Despite the fact that Teofimo Lopez hasn't knocked anybody out lately, it doesn't take away from his power. He's been matched against guys that move around the ring. That's why. And let's be realistic. We can't be just, dumping on Teo like that, man. Because at the end of the day, out of the core four, Teofimo Lopez is the only one that has been in the ring with two slick movers that are southpaws that are athletic. Gervonta hasn't fought a mover, Devin hasn't fought one, and Shakur hasn't fought one. So for all we know, those guys might not be good at cutting the ring off neither. That's something that Teofimo has to work on, though. That's something that we do know. So now we're going to go on to the other possibilities that are realistic. Golden Boy Promotions has done joint promotional events with Top Rank in the past, right? At Golden Boy, they got Arnold Barboza. I really like that choice for Teofimo Lopez. Arnold Barboza is a fighter that will stand and fight with Teo. He's taller. He might try to move around and jab, but I don't think Barboza has the athleticism to get away from Teofimo Lopez. They have a history, right? Barboza doesn't have a big name under his belt, except for Jose Pedraza, but he's a Mexican-style fighter at the end of the day. By heart, that would be a good fight for Teofimo Lopez. He's been pulling up on Teofimo Lopez, talking heavy. That's the type of fight that can motivate Teofimo Lopez just to shut him down, just to silence him. I like that fight. And then we could also revisit the Jose Ramirez fight. That fight didn't happen last time. Jose Ramirez was offered the opportunity to fight Teo before Jermaine Ortiz raised his hand and said, I'll do it. Maybe they can run that. Maybe they can talk about a potential fight between Teofimo Lopez and Jose Ramirez. Me personally, if it were up to me, it may not be the popular choice, but I kind of like the Keyshawn Davis fight for Teofimo Lopez. Keyshawn Davis is gaining a buzz within the boxing community, and it wouldn't be the first time that we had an established world champion take on a young gun, undefeated before he even enters his prime, right? Let's talk about the past. You already know my gimmick, low-nose boxing, the past, the present, the future. So I got to talk about history. And I remember when Salvador Sanchez took on a young, undefeated 13-0 Azuma Nelson, who at the time was a prospect / contender, right? And Salvador Sanchez defeated Azuma Nelson. To this day, that's considered one of Salvador Sanchez's best wins. Azuma Nelson turned around and became a great fighter, a legend, a Hall of Famer. So that win aged very well for Salvador Sanchez. Based on what I see with Keyshawn Davis, I believe that he's going to be a world champion one day, that he's going to be a very, very, very good fighter. So if Teo were to fight Keyshawn Davis and beat Keyshawn Davis convincingly, I'm going to give Teofimo Lopez all the credit in the world. And a win over Keyshawn Davis, mark my words, will be the type of win that ages like fine wine. So if it were up to me, it would be Keyshawn Davis. If not Keyshawn Davis, it would be Jose Ramirez or Arnold Barboza. What's next for Teofimo Lopez, right? Once again, what I will say is this. Everybody is going at Teofimo's neck right now based on things that he said, based on his performance. But what we can't say is that he doesn't come to fight. He's been here before. He's proven that he can bounce back from a loss. And mind you, this is not a loss. Let's not forget he came off of a bad performance against Sandor Martin and turned it around against Josh Taylor. So Teofimo Lopez is due for another electrifying performance. Hopefully he learns how to cut the ring off one day, so when he does fight a slick mover, he can handle them the way that I believe he could if he knows how to cut the ring off. But these options I'm talking about, Keyshawn Davis, Jose Ramirez, Arnold Barboza, these are all fighters with the type of style where Teofimo Lopez can shine and silence the critics once again. So it's going to be interesting to see what's next for Teofimo Lopez. With that being said, thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button, share the video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel because Low Nose Boxing. I'm out.